Greetings, welcome back to Game Design. This is lesson 11, the draw loop. And in this lesson, we're going to learn how to actually start to make things move. So one of the big things we'll learn is how Code.org and Game Lab allow us to be able to do so. So the first thing you should do, go watch this video. So if you need pause, stop, go back. The link should be right below this. Watch this video, and then once you're done with the video, come back and go to level 2. We'll start to kind of look at how this works as fast as the internet goes. Alright, so we have an example of it. We want to run it, how it works, and let's look at it. Alright, so we have no stroke, fill green, and then draw lips. And what we have here is a random number generator. Right, so remember, X, Y, this should randomly put it 0 to 400, 0 to 400, so anywhere, right? So we run this, and we get a bunch of dots, right? So this was kind of explained on the video that you just watched. It's just going to put them over and over and over and over again. In a couple levels, we'll learn how to fix this, but for now, that's it, right? You draw this, this runs forever. Point this out now, point out later. If you type anything after this, it will never get here, right? If this piece right here runs forever, it can't get to anything below it. So that's one of the big mistakes students will make. And a lot of the times you'll go through the code and they'll have that as one of your things on the practice or whatever that you'll need to realize. And there'll be some other things that we'll look at as well when we start adding it. But that's the basis, right? Whatever is in here is over and over and over and over and over again. So it draws it, it stamps a new one, stamps a new one, stamps a new one, stamps a new one, right? It just stamps them really, 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 really quick. So with that, we'll jump on to level 3, and we'll add a little bit more to it, right? So when you run this, we get that same green dot, and eventually it'll fill up the whole screen. What it wants us to do is to go ahead and make an orange one. So you just copy these 2 lines and then change this to orange, and it'll get, spell it right, that. Now in this case, it'll never fully be one color because it keeps stamping over each other. But we now have the ability for everything in here to run over and over again. This is the green one, this is the orange one, and it comes back and stamps both of them again, stamps them again and again, over and over and over again. So level 4 in a second. So this has one small difference, all right, and this is where the video is kind of getting to, like, how do we make it so we just have a bunch of them? Well, look at this code, and there's one key difference, right? One key difference. So if you look at it and make your prediction, so I'm going to pause, make your prediction, but if you come back here, you'll notice that this line right here is there. When we run it, now it's not stamping anymore, right? And that is a big thing. If you forget this, it's going to go back to where it just has yellow dots everywhere. What's happening is we put a red background down, put the blue or the yellow dot, but then we put the red background on top of that dot and put another one, right? This is how you're going to be able to get things to make it look like they are moving. Alright, in this case, let's do this with sprites. So eventually we're going to learn how to actually make the sprites move across. For now, it's just going to be random. So in this case, it's just random. So when we run this one, right, it's shaking a little bit, right? It's using sprite.rotation and randomly picking the rotation. -10. So if you increase this, it'll shake more. And you remember how the random number works and how rotation works. So -50 is that way, +50 is that way. So when I run this, again, it's shaking back in that. If you do anything that makes it from 0 to 360, it'll just kind of randomly shake all over the place. So again, whatever you're trying to do, now this will make them shake more at that angle, right? If you put less in between here, it's going to get more, just a little bit of a shake. The more numbers you choose from, the more of a sporadic shake he has. But again, eventually we're going to get so we can control them, right? We can say if you push down, it goes that way, up, it goes that way. But for now, this draw function allows us to do that. All right, one more and we'll start your challenge. Alright, so this is just kind of understanding your X and your Y. The code is pretty much the same. We have a pencil, we have a brush, we have the background so it doesn't stamp, and then the pencil has the randomness, and this does not. But again, look at what this number is. That's 300, right? That's its X. This is the pencil's X, right? So you can see what they did was they just added 10 to that. So if I copy this and I paste it, if I run this, they're going to go over each other. And that's a very common mistake a lot of students do. This needs to be 300, right? Because that is where the X is. And this is, students struggle all the time with your X and your Y. So make sure you understand what this is doing. This is the brush X, right? The brush X. This is the brush X. I want it to just shake back and forth 10. Same concept. This is the pencil X, right? Pencil X. So this is not its X and Y. This is the range that its X is going to go. And there we go. Now we have it bouncing back and forth. So, like all other lessons, you're going to do all the practice, they're going to do the assessment, and they're going to do all of the challenges. So, again, make sure you understand. One thing I'll point out real quick that I've seen other students do, and this is going to come back like the whole entire course, right? Notice when you create the variables, you create the actual sprites, they do it outside the function. If you create the sprite inside the function, you're still going to have that stamping effect. See how it looks like it's stamping? Because this is creating that one every single time. So you'll have like 100 sprites, and yeah, you're putting the background on top of it, but then 101 sprites. And that's why it looks like it's stamping. You put a background over the 101 sprites, but now the next time you create it, there's 102 sprites. So that's another problem that you need to watch out for this. Other than that, go ahead and finish the practice, and we'll see you next lesson.